video, we'll be looking at the audio effects and transitions within Adobe Premiere Pro. So you finished your project and you would like to put some effects and transitions in. There's plenty of effects that you can use inside Adobe Premiere Pro. I'll show you some of the ones that I use quite a bit. So if you're in the editing view, the first thing you need to do is make sure you go to the effects view at the top here. I must stress that I'm using Adobe Premiere Pro 2020, so your version might look slightly different, but generally speaking, this hasn't changed in the past 10 years. On the right-hand side, you'll see some new libraries open up on the effects panel. The two we're going to be looking at today are the audio effects and audio transitions. So let's just step through those. So if we expand audio effects, there are about 10 subfamilies. If we go into the first one, amplitude and compression, there are many different ones. So let me just show some of the general ones. So let's just say, for example, that your audio is a bit weak and you want to amplify it. So what you do is you grab the amplifier and you drag it onto, so make sure you select it first. Select the amplifier and then drag it onto the audio timeline. And you'll see over here a new option will open up. Now, there's several ways you can do it. You can either do it through individual means by selecting the bypass, and then you can then select how many extra decibels you would like in there for a slider. Be careful with decibels because they're exponential. So there's a big difference between a 2 decibel increase and a 10 decibel increase. So be very careful there. If you're unsure, you could use the remap function. And inside a new dialog box here, it will give you some boost options here in terms of a 10 decibel, 1 decibel, 3 decibel, and then minus decibels. Generally speaking, I would use a 3 decibel boost at first and then play it and see how it is. 10 decibel is quite loud. Now, if you don't want to have this anymore, all you do is you select it and you press the delete button, and that will actually remove also all the effects on that timeline there. Another one which is useful is called a hard limiter. So you paste across on the timeline, and then if you hit the remap function on that, this will actually select the upper limits of what you would like to limit your video by. So say you got lots of loud noises, you can say you want to limit them at a certain decibel, and that way it will cut off automatically. This is really useful if you're trying to make a video such as a song which has a specific range. I don't use it too much, but I know several friends who work in the music and special effects industry use it quite a bit. So you can play around with other options. You also got the volume there too if you want to mix it up. I'm just going to go through some of the other options. So if we go delay and echo, this one here is if you want to put a deliberate echo into your audio. So analog delay makes it sound like a radio signal. Delay is you can play around with the delay and echo. I personally don't use it very often, but there might be a scene in your video where you want an echo. Next one's filter and EQ. So this one is all around adjusting the bass and the pitch of inside your video. So you can create an equalizer. The two that I use quite a bit are the high pass and low pass. So if we drag the high pass one on, and then we can expand upon it. If you zoom in down on your audio time frame, you have frequency, the low frequencies and the high frequencies. So low frequencies are like your real bass low sounds, so explosions or deep male voices. And then you've got your high pitched ones, which could be like screams and so on. So here you can actually put cutoffs in there, yet again, sort of high pitch. So let's just say you've got a really annoying noise in the background, which is a high frequency. This is one way that you could remove it. The same with the low pass. You could also do any low noises that you want to remove, like rumblings, and automatically you'll go through your audio timeline and remove those. Next up, we'll go to noise reduction and restoration. Now, this is the one that's probably the best out of all of them. You've got the automatic click remover. I personally don't use it. I actually like the sound of keys, but if the sound of keys annoys you in a video, all you need to do is just drag it onto the timeline, and then through a sophisticated algorithm, it will work out where your clicks are coming from. Now, it's by no means perfect. You might have to play around the threshold, depending on the quality of your microphone. The next two that I use quite a bit is the dehummer. So the dehummer, if we drag on the timeline, is if, for example, in a previous video, I had the microphone scratching against my face, you can use the dehummer to isolate that noise, and then it will remove it from it. So anything like hums in the background, electrical sounds, anything that repeats, the hum is really good, and you can actually change that here, individual properties. So what you need to do is you need to isolate the sound, work out what its frequency is, and you can do that by going through the properties here. and then you can then try to get the program to isolate that. I would recommend this for more advanced students, but it's a very good one. The noise does a similar job, except it removes a repeating noise, where this one tries to look for a low or high-pitched sound. Okay, and finally, there are some obsolete audio effects you can go through here, like mute and volume. So if you want to mute a part of video, I've used them before, play around with them. So that's basically a summary of all the major effects that I use in audio effects. I suggest you play around with them. That's the best way to learn. The final thing I want to look at in this video is the audio transitions. So we've got this crossfade. Now, if you want the music or the sound to ramp up going in or out of a video, I suggest you use the constant gain or exponential fade. So constant gain is where it'll ramp the sound up if we drag it on. So with the constant gain, if you drag it on, it will constantly gain either in or out, depending on how you set it. You can set the duration, and basically it will either go up or down. The exponential fade is really good if you want to fade some music out at the end of a video or some voice. And the same thing, you can set the duration of the fade between the beginning and end. And then you've got the constant power. The constant power is really good to use between transitions because it will make sure that the volume and amplitude is set at the constant volume in case maybe they were recorded at different times. So overall, there's a lot to learn within the audio effects and transitions library. I've gone through some of the more common ones that I think most editors use. My advice is to grab a project you're working on and play around with it. It's the best way to learn. There will be a practice task in the next coming videos where you can practice out these different skills. If you've got any more questions, please watch my other videos. Otherwise, thank you for watching.